Hi, everybody. I'm Bud Shaw. As Brooke introduced me, I'm a solution architect with GSI. And I've got roughly now over 23 years of JD Edwards experience, and I'm pretty much a functional guy. I said I wanted to turn my camera off. Bear with me. Ooh. There it is. Got it. Okay. I've been working with JD Edwards for over 23 years, and I'm pretty much a functional guy, but all of these features in Orchestrator allow for a lot of functional enhancements within JD Edwards. So I'm very much interested, and I like to stay up to date on what the latest and greatest is. That's just a bit about me. So in 927, which since the release of release 22 last year, there were a lot of enhancements that came along, especially in Orchestrator, and particularly seems to be a particular focus in Orchestrator around logic extensions and then also workflow. So I picked a few of these for today's session: logical extensions, aggregation support, and then data set processing. And we're going to cover these two topics today. Basically allowing you to do easy aggregations. There's actually an icon within the logical extensions to do aggregations. And then as you do the data set processing for the records as the aggregation is being performed, they've added math functions allowing you to do calculations and build your analytics right within the logical extension. So this is, data set processing. I mean, obviously allows you to build arrays and accept arrays as inputs, but also put together arrays for outputs from a logical extension. And then in the aggregation support, built-in analytics, and just simplifying cases where you have to do, summarizations or calculations, divisions, mathematical calculations within it, so you can accomplish, data analysis without, programming skills, just using, the orchestration and its familiar JDE terminologies and features and stuff like that. And I won't cover that today, but as you're doing these kind of things, a logical extension, you can just put a logical extension and call it right from within a form extension within JDE. So if you wanted to give them a button that says, show me the top 10 items being sold right now, and that's your logical extension does that aggregation and calculation, they can just click a button and move it on. So I'll be doing all the demoing and through it within the Orchestrator Studio. So, but do be aware that that's probably the way you would use these features going forward, or maybe called from another orchestration. So there's examples of data set processing, right, for logical extension. You can do inputs, right? Item price, and you can read through it, calculate them up, and then build a array for outputs with a list of items, the price, and the cost, and then even have a margin as it calculates, all done within the logical extension. So as I like to demo. So what I'm going to do is actually walk through showing you what that looks like within JDE. So I'm going to log into my studio. And I have already built a logical extension that I'm calling calculate profit margin, right? So this is the logical extension, and maybe we can zoom into this a little bit better. So this is what the logical extension looks like. And if you notice on the side, there's a new function in here, called aggregation. and that's the one we're focused in on here. So when we built this one, we started with an assignment block, and when we built the aggregate, put the aggregation in there, it reads through it. So this is just to set your values for the beginning, and this is while my array is less than the initial length, array length in here. It's going to get the row from the input. It's, you know, and that's inputs. Then it's going to calculate the margin from the input by reading JDE files. So this is, you know, reading the sales orders, and then it's going to do an array function to add, append the row to my margin list for the array for output, right? And then here we're just incrementing a counter by one, so we know what they are. So this is, you know, while the list is going on, our loops on through it. The beginning setups out here, let me shrink this back down, is the capability in here. The new feature within here is to be able to add an array for my variables and for my data structures going into the application, right? So this is my item list array with reading item number, unit cost, unit price. So it's processing the list within it and then doing a calculation. And you notice my output then is the profit margin with the item number and the margin, right? So we've got input lists and output input array and output arrays as well. I have a variable just to count what's going on within it, and then here is your structure where you're building it all out. This is just, you know, one example of this. So as we run through this example, and you know, I'm going to take an array. Maybe it was it could be a spreadsheet that we're going in here. We can click on our input, and we can start putting in the item. So item number 100. I'm sorry, item 1. Unit cost of say 100, and then the unit price of 125. So these are just going to read a manual array coming in. And this will have my amounts. Oop. So I've got just a few records in here, and we pulled those values into the array, and then we can go ahead and test it. And we run it, and you see it's giving me the sample, and then we can take a look at our output that's coming in. So for each one is giving me a calculation and on profit margin, also in that array example, right? So that's a kind of a simple scenario of it. And don't worry, I'm going to go through, we're going to walk through another example here soon, and I'm going to actually build you one to show you what that looks like as you go along, right? So that was just, you know, a quick, simple aggregation. And I'm sorry, an array input and output example. That's what I was doing with that one. So then I'm going to go back to my slideshow. So then that's just managing an array and showing that concept. Now we talk about aggregation support, I think, which is even a bigger piece of the enhancements here in the 927 release. I mean, we're getting ready for, I think, 927.3 pretty soon. So probably with Blueprint 4D, we'll see another release, some more enhancements. I don't know quite all what is going to be announced there, but I'll find out at Blueprint for sure. So aggregation, and now there's a new aggregation icon you can see in here. and allows you to, built-in, do built-in data analytics and simplify cases for calculating and grouping and putting things together. So that, along with the array function that we just took a quick look at, are a couple of the new features that we're seeing in logical extensions. So this is just a screenshot of the aggregation here, and you can see a little bit difference in here. So when we look at the aggregation icon that we put in the process here, right? When you add an aggregation, it actually does a looping read. So this is reading through the sales order F4211 table, making sure the sales order type that's a filter, and then it's doing an aggregation. It's counting, and then it's summing different order quantities up in here, and then it's got a little halving clause in there that making sure that a certain value criteria within it, and then grouping them within it. So these are all new analytic functions available within the aggregation enhancement. So we take a look at this one, and then we have the output where we've combined with where we just saw the previous array function, right? And aggregating and then putting those aggregations into an array for output. So then the same thing with this one. So you see the output from this. This aggregation is really meant to list the most ordered products, names and quantities. As I said, that'd be like if you put this one and you put it the logical extension on your sales order header form, or something like that, or even on an E1 page, because either one can call logical extension. You can click it, they can click on it and run it. And then they can get output in a table, aggregated, sorted, and listed all by that aggregation function and the analytic features that go along with it. And then, as I kind of highlighted a little bit already with the previous one, this one has an array to go along with it. Item number, unit cost, unit price, profit margin. And as it reads through it, gives you most listed items and can build it into an array. So hopefully I'm doing okay on time. Any questions so far? No? Okay. So what I thought we would do and give you more value out of this is let's build one. I'm going to take a little different approach than sales orders. But I'm going to go ahead and build a new logical extension. And I'm going to call this PO aggregation. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say, kind of an unusual request, but one you might get is, give me a list of my POs and which ones are open and what's the percentage of open POs, right? If you don't use commitment processing in JDE, a finance person might want to know, okay, how much POs I got out there open before I start receiving them in and getting my invoices. So what we can do in here is we can build them a little logical extension to go ahead and do that. So we're going to start with here, and we're going to start by adding I'm going to add a data dictionary because I want to filter by company, and I'm going to use an alias. If you haven't, if you haven't done logical extensions before, I would encourage you to join in on our next upgrade workshop. And we will walk you through and get you a hands-on example of building logical extensions. Our orchestrator workshop gets you started with orchestrations. Our upgrade workshop gets you hands-on with logical extensions. So the first thing I'm going to do, and I want to have an input only that says I want to filter by a particular company. So because just to show you could filter company, maybe it's within a business unit, branch, plant, or whatever, and we can rename this one company orders as an example. All right. Now in here, now the news one, and this is a new feature in 927, right, which is the capability to add an array. So I'm going to add an array, and we're going to call it order list. Okay. ST. All right, so now within the array, we'll add a data dictionary item, and you'll see it'll add it into the array as we go along. So the first thing we want to add in our array is an item number. You can see it's a string, and it's indented actually to make it easy for you to see that it belongs to the array. And this is going to be my output. So I'm going to have this array as an output array. So as we read through the company orders, we're going to make a list and count, with the item, the number, the description, total order quantity, and counts and things like that. So I'm going to continue on and build our array members. So we're going to we'll just call this description. So this is I'll just make this a little simpler, easier to read. Item number. Description. Okay. Then I'm going to keep adding data dictionary in here. We're going to let's get a total. Let's build an item that's accumulating my total order quantity, right? So what we're going to do here is an integer alias. These are all, I'm messing up here, guys. There we go. I wanted the array or all these to be just the output, because I'll be reading them and plopping them in there. This, we'll call this total order quantity, total order count, how many orders we counted. And then we'll have units ordered. And we're adding it to the same array list. And then we'll add another one. Getting to the end here. Is probably the most tedious part of this is defining your data structures. The rest gets more fun. Units open quantity. And then the last thing I want to do is put a message in so that when this runs, it tells you, what the total is and everything, and gives you a message, right? So I want to let's see what total order quantity. I'll make this call a little easier to understand. So this is the POs that we've counted. Let's see. And we'll make this the aggregate sum. Just making it a little more easy to understand. And again, the aggregate sum of the quantity open, right? And then one last item in the array is to have a message that says the total percent is, so that's a message, a string that we can add in here. And I can just add a string. Oh, sorry. And we'll call this the message. All right. So now we have those. I think I would then we would have just one or two variables in here. And we could copy one of these over to a variable, but I'm going to go ahead and add this. So we already have order list length because it knew when we added that in here, but let's do a ratio because we're going to do a calculation, right? That's some of the new features is to do that. So we're going to add a data dictionary item, Math 01, and we'll call this ratio. All right. Okay, so now we have our variables and we have our array built. I think I got it looking fairly right. So now I want to save my work so that we start building the actual logical extension. So a couple ways to do it. If we add our aggregation, we can click the plus sign and add it in, or we can simply drag and drop in between the beginning and the end our aggregation, right? And the aggregation is over the purchase orders, 4311, right? And as we populate that in, let me push my F11 key, get rid of the toolbar so you can see a little better. So our aggregation, and notice as we added that in, it did a looping parameter for you. We'll do our calculation in there with an assignment block fairly soon. So the first thing we're going to do here is start editing. And if you haven't worked with, logical extensions or orchestration, you see the little pencils where we're going to need to do this. So our filter criteria is going to be to match all, right? And we're going to add some filtering functions in here. The first thing we're going to filter is our company key. And we're going to say it's equaling to company, company order key equal, and I'm going to do the input that I had. Did I not add that one in here? Oh yeah, company orders equal to company orders. That's the company that we're going to input when we run this as a filtering criteria for it. We're also going to want to filter on order type because we only want to get our OP document types. So we're going to use a literal here and make it OP. So we're going to just read standard orders. And we want, since we're going to be looking for open, we want to make sure we're capturing things that we're expecting to be received and haven't been closed, or maybe we're just looking at stock items anyways. So we're going to go to a line type. No. And we'll filter on line type, again, equal to a literal called S for stock. All right. So that's the filtering criteria for it. Now we have the new aggregations in here. We're going to include a count, and we're going to include it into total order count. That's where it'll count. So the number of orders that we're counting on through. And then we're going to do a summarization in here as well. So we have these aggregation icons. So we're going to sum on our unit quantity transaction. What did I do? Oh, I got to get rid of my filter. Units transaction quantity, right? So we're going to see how easy that is to do that. And we're going to sum unit transaction quantity, and then we're going to put it into quantity ordered. We'll do another one, and then we want to do units open, right? And summarization. That one we'll sum again, and we'll put that one into units open quantity. So we have units ordered and open quantity as we go along here. Now, we don't have any halving requirements, so we're just, not looking for any more filtering within it, but we do want to group them and let's group them by the item description, so we get a total as we get through that, right? So the group by will be, I want to group by my description, so let me get my description. Item description. There it is, description line 1. So here is my group by description. We're going to just group it by description, and we're going to put them into the description. And the last thing we want to do, because we did sort it when we went on through here, we're going to go into the order by, which is this little bullet icon here. We're going to sort it by, let's add item number. I think I missed something in here that I wanted to have in here. Units open quantity. Oh, I didn't want to do this one. I'm going to take rid of that one. Gotta go back. Units open quantity. That's, see, now because they have a numeric value, then we can go ahead and order that. So we're going to order it by the units order quantity, and we'll change this to be descending. So we're sorting them by open quantities to get those at the top of the list, and in a descending order. So we've gone ahead and defined our aggregation within it. So now as we go through here, we're going to want to then assign this to, and we're going to assign it into our variables for our outputs, right? So I'm going to add an assignment block after each row, right? And in the assignment block, we're going to start by defining, let's see, the first thing we want to do is we're going to add in our ratio. So we're going to assign our ratio, and our ratio is going to be a calculation, right? So we're going to, our calculation, so in our expression, this is going to be a multiplication. So we're going to multiply. And the first thing we're going to do is to get a ratio, we're going to do 100. Oh, actually, I didn't want to do a multiply. Yeah, so our first one is going to be 100. And we're going to put a literal in there. And we're going to build on our expression in here. So as we click on our calculation expression, we're going to do another one. And this one, we're going to divide the open quantity divided by the original ordered quantity to come up with our ratio. So 100 times open quantity divided by original quantity. So in here, we're going to do a division. And in the very first area here, we're going to have open quantity and then divided by units ordered. So we're building a calculation now. So we don't end up with, crazy decimal places or something like that. The next thing we might want to do is add a rounding function within here. So I'm going to take ratio, and I'm going to use a math expression now down here. These are text expression. Here's our math function, right? And we're going to say ratio and this is going to be a round, and we're going to round the ratio to 0 decimal places, right? There we go. I think that looks about right. And now remember, we did the message, so we want to have a message so we can show. I wanted to show you, if you haven't seen this before as well, pretty good stuff. So I'm going to have my message, and the message is going to be a concatenation, right, of some verbiage and the percent and the ratio, right? So what I'm going to do here is the message, and we're going to do a text function. And this is going to be a concatenation, right? So we're going to concatenate. The first thing we're going to put in here is a literal. And we're going to say, you know, the percent of open orders is, right? Excuse me. And what I'm going to do, just to show you this one, because if I just put if I put the ratio in here, it'll jam it together without a blank space. So, but we can fix that. So we can do another text function in here, and we can concatenate a blank variable. And then we can put the ratio along with it. Right, so there we go. So that's our data assignments. And then the last thing we're going to do is put these into an array. And we're going to put these into the array called order list. Let's see, array function is to append row into our order list, right? And we're basically there. So you can see the columns that are coming out of the aggregation, item number, description, total, or quantity are all in here. So I'm going to save it, and then we're going to go ahead and test run this guy. Oh, got to have my company in here. Sorry about that, guys. Wrong company. What's the company that I want to? Yeah, I'm doing something wrong here, guys. 1, 2, 3. I don't think it's an 8-digit in here. Sorry, guys, I got to get my my right company that I'm pulling in here, and I didn't make a note of which one it was. Let me do a quick check. A little embarrassing here.
You're a human. It's all good.
That's all right. Got to log into my JDE system. So we're going to do P4311. And we're going to do, what did I say, order type OP. Company, I thought it was 1 though, right? Where I have stock items. Well, maybe we can do company 200. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That should be doing it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And I'm not getting something right. I did something wrong here, guys. Oh, oops, there they are. I had to click on the list output. I'm sorry, I forgot. I put it in the list output, not just in the parameters. So here is our output from our aggregation. You know, looking from the largest open quantities, sorted, touring by, the percentage orders is 57. Actually, I think I didn't do my sort quite right. Percent of open orders 57. I wanted to sort it by, but this is actually sorted by the order units ordered rather than the percentage, which is probably would have been a better sort. But you know, large quantity orders up at the top, all the way on down, down the list, right? So that is really the meat of what we have in here, and a lot of different uses for it. I started going down, looking at, capital asset management, where you have failure analysis and stuff like that, where you could give them high, which failures are most common and whatnot. But that is what I had for us. How are we doing? Oh, good. We're in good time. I was afraid I wasn't going to have enough time to work through that. Any questions? I don't see anything out here. Brooke, no?
Explained it so well.
All right. Well, I'll turn it back to you, Brooke, for close.
Okay. Sounds good. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them into the box, into the Q&A box right now. And while I'll cover this.
And I'm easy to find, bud.shaw@getgsi.com. I should have that in the slide that reach out with any questions, if you have going for. I know it's hard to absorb all of this in such a short period of time. So.
Yeah, and we will have the recording too afterwards. So, well, thank you so much, Bud.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for all joining, everybody.
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Just so you know, too, we have educational resources like webcasts, newsletters. We have our YouTube channel. We also have events in person like Blueprint 4D we're going to next month. And then we also have on-site and virtual workshops.
Blueprint 4D, I'll be doing, I think, 3 more orchestration, logical extension examples. So there'll be presentations there. Come see me.
Yes, that's the best. Let's so then to sign up for any of this, any of our content, which most of you are probably signed up for our emails, but you can always go out to our main website at getgsi.com, click on JD Edwards, and then you can see over here on the right hand side all of the different areas that we have. Be sure to follow us on social media. All of our handles are currently listed on the screen. This is where you'll find lots of great content about industry insights, all of the events that we have coming up, as well as webcasts and just really great educational info on here as well. Be sure to enter to win our $25 Amazon gift card. Once you close out your screen, you'll see another screen pop up with a survey. So as long as you do that and you attended the entire webcast, you'll be in the drawing to win a $25 Amazon gift card. And I did see, I thought I saw one question roll through.
I think somebody was just commenting that they had not seen these features. Okay. And I'm not surprised you haven't seen them. These are relatively new. They came out, about 4 months ago, 5 months ago. So I do my best to try and learn them. There's so much always going on. So sometimes I get a little bit not smooth in my presentations, but they work in the end. So.
No, you're great. Thank you so much. Thank you guys to everybody who joined us today. And Bud's email is currently listed on the screen along with our website. So if you guys have any further questions or you need anything, you know where to find us. So thank you again. We hope you have a great rest of your week. And thanks again, Bud.
You're welcome. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.